Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Misery 18. When she came back an hour later, he took the matches. She laid the title page on the grill. She tried to light one of the blue tips and couldn't because it kept missing the rough strip or falling out of his hand. So Annie took the box and lit the match and put the lit match in his hand, and he touched it to the corner of the paper and then let the match fall into the pot, watched fascinated as the flame tasted, and then gulped. She had barbecue fork with her this time, and when the page began to curl up, she poked it through the gaps in the grill. "This is going to take forever," he said. "I can't." "No, we'll make quick work of it," she said, "but you must burn a few of the single pages, Paul, as a symbol of your understanding." She now laid the first page of Fast Cars on the grill, words he remembered writing some 24 months ago in the New York townhouse. "I don't have no wheels," Tony Bossonero said, walking up to the girl coming down the steps, "and I am a slow learner and I am a fast driver." On it, it brought back the day like the golden oldie on the radio. He remembered walking around the apartment from room to room, big with book, more than a big gravid, and here were labor pains. He remembered finding one of Joan's bras under a sofa cushion early that day, and she had been gone a full 3 months. Showed you what kind of job the cleaning service did. He remembered hearing New York traffic and faintly the monotonous tolling of a church bell calling the faithful to mass. I remember sitting down. As always, the blessing relief starting, a feeling that was like falling into a hole filling with bright light. As always, the glum knowledge that you would not write as well as you wanted to write. As always, the terror of not being able to finish, of acceleration into a blank wall. As always, the marvelous joy, nervy feeling of journey begun. He looked at Annie Wilkes and said clearly but not aloud, "Annie, please don't make me do this." She held up the matches immovably before him and said, "You can do as you choose." So he burned his book. 19. She made him burn the first page, the last page, and 9 pairs of pages from various points of the manuscript. Because 9, she said, was a number of power, and 9 doubled was lucky. He saw that she had a magic marker to black out the profanities, at least as far as she had read. "Now," she said when the 9th pair was burned, "you've been a good boy and a real sport, and I know this hurts you almost as bad as these are legs, and I won't draw it out any longer." She removed the grill and set the rest of the manuscript into the pot, crunching down the crisp black curls of the pages she had already burned. The room stank of matches and burned like paper. "Smells like the devil's cloakroom," he thought deliriously. If there had been anything in the wrinkled walnut shell that had once been his stomach, he supposed he would have vomited it up. She lit another match and put it in his hand. Somehow he was able to lean over and drop the match in the pot. It didn't matter anymore. It didn't matter. She was nudging him. Wearily, he opened his eyes. It went out. She scratched another match and put it on his hand. So he somehow managed to lean over again, awaking rusty bandsaws in his legs as he did so, and touched the match to the corner of the pile of manuscript. This time the flame spread instead of shrinking and dying around the match. He leaned back, eyes shut, listening to the cackling sound, feeling the full baking heat. "Goodness!" she cried, alarmed. He opened his eyes and saw that charred bits of paper were wafting up the barbecue on the heated air. Annie lumbered from the room. He heard water from the tub taps thud into the floor pail. He watched idly as a dark piece of manuscript floated across the room and landed among the gauzy curtains. There was a brief spark. He had time to wonder if perhaps the room was going to catch on fire. It winked once more, and then it went out, leaving a tiny hole like a cigarette burn. Ash shifted down on the bed. Some landed on his arms. He didn't really care, one way or the other. Annie came back, eyes trying to dart everywhere at once, trying to trace the course of each carbonized page as it rose and seesawed. Flames flipped and flickered over the edge of the pot. "Goodness," she said again, holding the bucket of water looking around, trying to decide where to throw it or if it needed to be thrown at all. Her lips were trembling and wet with spit. As Paul watched, her tongue darted out and clicked them afresh. Goodness, goodness, it seemed all she could say. Even caught in the squeezing vice of his pain, Paul felt an instant of intense pleasure. This is what Annie Wilkes looked like when she was frightened. It was a look he could love. Another page wafted up. This one still running with little tenders of low blue fire. And then that decided her. With another goodness, she carefully poured out the bucket of water into the barbecue pot. There was a monstrous hissing and plume of steam. The smell was wet and awful, charred and yet somehow creamy. When she left to get on his elbow one final time, he looked into the barbecue pot and saw something that looked like a charged lump of log floating in the brackish pot. After a while, Annie Wilkes came back. Incredibly, she was humming. She sat up and pushed him some capsules in his mouth. He swallowed them and lay back thinking, I'm going to kill her. Anyway, I'm going to stop right there. Thanks for listening.